I'm going to be sharing with you guys the 20 biggest wedding regrets that you'll want to avoid. I compiled this list myself from years of stalking Reddit, wedding planning podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, as well as learning directly from the 500 plus weddings that I have photographed. Regret number one is inviting too many guests. When you invite too many guests, costs skyrocket. It's actually not just the price per plate. Every additional guest affects everything from venue size to the number of centerpieces and favors and invitations needed. It even affects things like photography, videography, planning, bartending, as a larger guest count necessitates more staff members when it comes to these services. Plus, a larger guest count can make it harder to connect with everyone. Regret number two is hiring a cheap photographer. Hiring a cheap photographer might save money initially, but it often costs more in the long run. Photography is a specialized art, and an experienced photographer does a lot more than just take photos. They set the tone for the day, they ensure everyone is where they need to be, of course pose you and your guests efficiently, and deliver thoughtfully taken and beautifully edited photos. I am a compulsive Reddit user, and I can't count the number of times I've read, "I wish we invested more in our photographer. We just picked someone because they were affordable and we were super disappointed." Number three is following obligations out of tradition. It is easy to feel pressured to include every wedding tradition just because that's how it's done. But do you really need the garter toss, bouquet toss, cake cutting, or even a first dance? It's not for everyone. I've seen one couple have a drag duo perform instead of a first dance, which was amazing. Another couple had a dance workshop with an instructor, so everyone participated and learned something. Your wedding should reflect what matters to you, not what others expect. Regret number four is not having a first look. Not having a first look can be a missed opportunity for an intimate moment with your partner before the whirlwind of the day begins. Without it, you're often left squeezing in family and wedding party photos between the ceremony and the reception, taking up your entire cocktail hour. Not everyone minds that, because initially the cocktail hour came about as a way for guests to occupy themselves while the couple took photos. But without a first look, you'll spend much more of the day apart from one another, as you won't be connected until the ceremony begins. By that point, every guest will want to talk to you, so there isn't really that time to connect with each other. One extra benefit is that you'll get two sessions for the romantics. That's the photos of the couple. One will be immediately after the first look, and the second will be optimized for sunset sometime during the reception. And these could be in two different locations. In addition, you'll have the chance to share private vows if you don't wish to make this a public event in front of guests. Regret number five is having a wedding party, so bridesmaids and groomsmen. Having a wedding party might seem essential, but it's becoming less common. Wedding parties can bring unexpected drama, additional costs, and coordination challenges that you might not want to deal with on your big day. The simple truth is that many wedding party members just don't stay in the couple's lives past young adulthood. Centering your wedding around people that you knew in high school or college may prove unwise. Another fact that no one talks about, but I will, is that many people of any age getting married simply do not have close friends. Please don't allow yourself to feel ashamed or embarrassed because you look around and you realize that there is no one you'd even want to ask to be your bridesmaids. Regret number six is rushing through your day. Rushing through your wedding day can make it feel like a blur. Any wedding day is already a whirlwind. Even if you have 10 hours of events, it goes by so fast. And that's coming from a vendor who's at work on a wedding day. It just flies by every single time. Ensure you allow enough time between events and include a buffer time so that you're not feeling hurried. It's easy to have an unfortunate knock-on effect when, for example, hair and makeup runs late. That means the first look is late, which means family formals runs late, which means the ceremony runs late, and so on. When you have an unrushed day, which includes plenty of buffer time, the unfilled times absorb the impact when a previous event took longer than expected. As a vendor who's experienced hundreds of weddings, it's far more likely that there's too much going on than too much downtime. Regret number seven is not detaching from the timeline. While planning is important, remember to enjoy your day. Unexpected things will happen, and that is okay. Many marriers' favorite moments were the unscripted ones that weren't on any timeline at all. Once all the planning is done, you need to release everything, knowing that you've worked it all out. Every vendor that needed to know what's happening knows. Anything that takes you out of the moment on your wedding day, including, ironically, the timeline, is not our friend. At the end of the day, we want you to enjoy every moment and not worry that this wasn't exactly how you had imagined it. Remember that it will all work itself out. Regret number 8 is not having a backup plan for extreme weather. Always have a backup plan for extreme weather, whether it's a hurricane, a heat wave, rain or gale or snow. Whether renting an alternate venue or setting up tents, being prepared can really save the day. One outdoor wedding I was at had to be moved indoors due to a sudden downpour, but the couple handled it with such grace because they had a plan in the form of a rented tent. Another wedding was an intimate one intended to be out in the redwoods with zero rain cover except the trees themselves. At the last minute, I offered them some solutions for local community centers, very inexpensive. Luckily, it didn't end up raining, but I honestly don't know what they would have done if the forecast didn't turn around. Regret number 9 is not hiring a videographer. So not everyone wants a wedding video that looks like a trailer for a Hollywood blockbuster, but the power of video is not just in the moving image and the edits, it's in capturing crisp sound. Without a videographer, you're missing out on reliving the audio of key moments like vows and speeches. Phone recordings, unfortunately, just don't cut it, as those in the videos won't be wearing microphones. One couple regretted never hearing their parents' toasts again because they only had muffled, echoey phone audio. Regret number 10 is doing too much DIY. DIY projects can add a personal touch, but they can also become overwhelming. It's great for some folks, especially those who are on a tighter budget. If you are DIYing flowers, for example, then purchasing and taking delivery, transportation, storage, physical labor of putting them together, and creating an aesthetic all have to be taken into consideration. If it's DIY, then it's either the couple or one of your guests that will be paying for it in terms of their time and energy on your wedding day. I had a bride recently that decided to order DIY flowers and didn't have a wedding planner. We were in the middle of the romantics right after the first look, and she caught sight of where the venue staff had set up the flowers. She had to go over herself and move everything to the place that she had already told them that it should be. But without a skilled professional, mix-ups happen and it falls to you to put it right. Regret number 11 is skipping the hair and makeup trial. Skipping the hair and makeup trial can lead to last-minute panic on the wedding day, and there simply isn't enough time to start over. I've seen brides change their entire look after a trial because they didn't like that initial result or the artist didn't suit their style. A trial ensures that you feel confident and beautiful on your wedding day. Regret number 12 is not allocating enough time to getting ready. Getting ready can be a relaxing start to your day, but it quickly becomes stressful if you don't allow ample time. Make sure to allow way more time than you think you need. I mean like hours more time. I've seen brides panic over running late because they underestimated how long hair and makeup would take. It's a shame because it's one of those times that brides really look forward to. But instead of it being a chill, happy time, cheersing mimosas and chatting about which jewelry to wear and what the guys are up to, it's stressful and everyone ends up feeling flustered and rushed. Regret number 13 is drinking too much alcohol the day of or night before. It's tempting to celebrate your wedding weekend with a few drinks, but overindulging can quickly lead to regret. No one wants to feel unwell or foggy on their wedding day. This is the one day that you want to never forget, not barely remember. Regret number 14 is not eating enough food. With all the excitement, nerves, and sheer adrenaline, it's easy to forget to eat. Schedule times to eat and drink to stay energized and hydrated. Not to mention, this is likely the most expensive meal of your life. You will not be thinking about food though with all the excitement, so ensure that the catering staff knows to bring past apps to you and to serve you first during dinner. If your photographer wants to take sunset photos but you're still eating, make sure you finish your meal first and tell them, hey, we are still eating, we need more time. Regret number 15 is not talking to every guest. It really sucks when people have traveled from far and wide and you haven't even had a chance to say hello to them. If you want to talk to every guest, consider opting for a more manageable guest list in the first place, and if not, just having plenty of time for mingling. Maybe your cocktail hour is an hour and a half or even longer, or maybe you carve out time for table visits during or after dinner so that you actually do have an opportunity to say hello at the very least to all of your guests, if that's important to you. There are only 3 real opportunities for mingling on a wedding day: during cocktail hour, table visits, and on the dance floor. The only ideal time for true mingling is cocktail hour, so think about how you will possibly get through everyone now that receiving lines are no longer the norm. Regret number 16 is not communicating directly with family members when and where they are needed for photos. Communicate photo times and locations with family members in advance. You need to tell them, hey, we will do photos at this time and this place. We need you to be there and photo ready. If you need to tell them to be there 15 or 30 minutes before they actually need to be there because they're notoriously late, then do that. And also your photographer probably has factored in some buffer time anyway, so being there early is always a good call. After the ceremony, people tend to scatter, some to the restroom, others to grab something from their car, and many straight to the bar. This is especially important for extended family members or friends who might not realize they're needed for photos, since typically only immediate family is included. You can easily have your officiant make an announcement before folks scatter. Regret number 17 is not taking individual photos with some loved ones. If you want individual photos with each parent or bridesmaid, plan for it. It won't happen by accident. Create a list and give it to your photographer in advance. They will check off each photo grouping to ensure that you capture the moments that matter to you. Don't assume that individual photos are just a given. Not everyone is close to each parent or family member or wedding party member, or values a photo of them and just that one other person. That's why we don't make any assumptions about the relationship dynamics of any individual. Regret number 17 is having guest favors. Guest favors are the gifts that you give to your guests to take home at the end of the night. Examples include coasters, scented candles, mugs, fans, and bottle openers. These items, while you might think they are expected by the guests, often go unnoticed. They can be a waste of money. I've seen beautifully packaged favors left behind at the end of the night. If you feel like you must give the guests something to take home and remember your wedding by, consider something consumable, ideally edible. Personally, I'm not a fan of yet more plastic and junk items that will sit around doing nothing and then be thrown away. I prefer to receive something like chocolate, a jar of honey, olive oil, jelly beans, or cookies. Better yet, ditch the favors and consider putting those funds towards something more memorable. Regret number 19 is not having an after party planned. If you want the celebration to continue, plan an after party. Without a plan, you'll lose time and guests while deciding on a location. It might not be possible to just walk into a bar with such a large group. Also consider how everyone will get from A to B given their state of inebriation. This is why a plan is essential. You know exactly what's going on, have a space reserved in a place you love, and a shuttle hired to take everyone from the venue to the bar and then back to their hotel again safely. The last one, regret number 20, is not having a late night snack or not having it announced. A late night snack can be a hit and worth the expense, but it does need to be announced. My friends actually recently got married and they had a late night instant ramen bar. Make sure you have a DJ or someone announce it. It's dark by this point and people aren't looking for a snack. Unless you have someone get on the mic and tell everyone, guests might miss out on enjoying that late night treat that could have kept their energy up for the after party. So there you have it, the 20 biggest wedding regrets. Which of these regrets surprises you the most? Did you make any of these mistakes if you're already married? Let me know in the comments.